Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. It's the Level 1 Podcast, and we're starting up a new week here. It is Monday, the 19th of February, 2024. Indeed, I'm DSP, and I welcome you here to the show. A more relaxed show yet again. Checking all outlets for updates. There's not a lot going on in the realm of gaming right now, likely because outside of a few surprise releases here or there that have been good over the last month, like Pal World or Helldivers 2, there's not that much going on in the realm of gaming. A million RPGs out at once. The next hot release, incidentally, is a hot RPG, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And because of that, it does kind of feel like a big lull here. And although there are some weird discussions in gaming, such as, Halo should be taken away from 343 Industries and put into the hands of another studio. No shit. Been saying that for like 5-6 years. But outside of stuff like that, there's not a lot going on. So, today will definitely be a more laid-back day here on the channel, and in particular on the podcast. I'd like to talk a little bit about how yesterday went, particularly the Retro React stream I did last night over on DSP Throwback, because I'm very pleased, honestly, about the times that we're having over there. I think that we're having so many good times, and I'm getting very excited for the future because of that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Today, perhaps, we'll take some suggestions from the brand spanking new suggestions box that I just created a day or two ago, and you have been posting suggestions in. If you're not aware, I made a new suggestion box on the community tab of this channel in which you could post up suggestions for constructive improvement and criticism. You could get to it by typing !suggestion in the chat. Or every 15 minutes or so, there should be a link for it automatically posted in the chat. Or if you're not in chat right now, if you check the community tab of this channel and you scroll down like 2 days ago, you'll see the post. So, let's see, right? Let's see where it goes. A more relaxed day today. Like I said, no crazy amount of topics to really discuss or anything like that. So off we go. First of all, just so you guys know, today we're back to full-time gameplay after yesterday being our full React day. And I know I haven't really done full React days like that in a while. And every once in a while we do one. And some people like it and some people don't. You know, because the thing is, being a variety creator, people like different things that I do. Some people like the podcast. Some people like the gameplay. Some people like the React show. Some people are liking the throwback content. So like a jack of all trades, master of none, I believe is what they say. And basically, I know that when I do a whole day of one thing, some people get disappointed, but I think yesterday was great to break it up and was very good variety. So, let's talk about yesterday. On the podcast yesterday, again, it was more chill, laid back, and a lot of like Q&A and interaction. But then we jumped over to DSP Reacts for my weekly show, DSP versus the Internet. This is where I react to clips from all over the internet per the member submissions. If people who are members on that channel, every week submit various clips. You know, Ultra members are guaranteed to get their clips watched because they're the biggest supporters of that channel and the project, while the submissions level members all kind of compete. They put it into a playlist, and it's all randomized, and we watch, some random clips every week. Great show. Good variety of topics. I mean, no exaggeration. We had comedy, gaming, politics, religion, food. Like, everything you could think of was, like, discussed in it. So I was like, wow, it was like the big variety show. It really felt like a giant variety show this week. So, good stuff. Keep that up. And keep those submissions coming. Just so you know, if you're a member over there on DSP React, where I do that show every Sunday, the thread's already up to post up your clips for next week. So, have at it. And if you're someone who watches that show for the first time, you're like, oh, it's interesting, consider becoming a member so you can submit clips for the show for the next week. Okay? But what I really like to talk about, for the most part, is last night's DSP Throwback stream. This is my channel newly rebranded back in January, where every day I release a newly remastered, upscale, edited, thumbnailed, and properly titled video from a forgotten playthrough that hasn't been on the internet in many years. Currently, it's alternating between Red Dead Redemption 1 from 2010 and Final Fantasy 13 from 2010. And actually, you may not be aware of this, we've hit roughly the halfway points of each playthrough. I think Red Dead technically did or is about to hit the midway point of around 10 to 12 hours because the playthrough's only around 20 hours long. And Final Fantasy 13, again, is right about reaching that point. I think when Final Fantasy 13 hits the 15-hour mark, that's when it's halfway, because I want to say it's around 30 to 32 hours long. All right? And the good news is, with Final Fantasy 13, when it hits the halfway point, it actually unlocks the better part of the game, where the game goes open world. You have free reign over who you want to use in your party as party members, and the game actually gets significantly better. The problem is it has the slowest 15-plus hour linear intro of any RPG ever, and it really, really suffers from that. Like, if they had changed the game up to be more free control and everything, it would have been a better game, but they took so long beating around the bush that it really does flounder. So it's just pretty crazy because, some people were so excited for it, and then they started watching it, and they're like, wait a minute, why is this so linear? Why is it just kind of the same thing over and over? Because that's how the game is. That's literally the game. I can't make the game any different from how it was in 2010. They designed it that way to be so confining, limited to certain party members and stuff like that until you get further into the game. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm updating the schedule because I forgot to do it. Because someone just typed the schedule command in the chat, and it was incorrect, so I just fixed it. So now if you type the schedule command, it'll be correct. There you go. So, the alternation of these two playthroughs is going well. Here we are, just past mid-February. I would say, or guess, we will likely finish both of those playthroughs, both Red Dead and Final Fantasy 13, probably around late April. Definitely Red Dead will finish first, because it only has about roughly 10 hours left of gameplay. So that means we'll have to figure out soon, probably within the next month, what's the next playthrough you want to see on that channel, right? Would you like to see L.A. Noire, another lost playthrough that hasn't been on the internet for many, many years? Or would you prefer to see some vlogging and or year-end content from 2010, which also doesn't exist because it was all uploaded to Blip TV and then never really was re-uploaded anywhere else? So we'll be talking about that soon, okay? We will. We'll be talking about what's the next major project for DSP Throwback soon. But really the focus here that I want to talk about is the awesome retro react streams we're doing. We've now done 3 of them, okay? About 1 month ago, I did my first ever stream on DSP Throwback, and it was me reacting to the Red Dead Redemption 1 playthrough for about 2.5 hours. And that was really neat, because we got to, for the first time ever, really experience a classic playthrough from modern eyes, being able to see how different my commentary was, and the camera style, and just reminiscing about how things were 14 years ago. It went really well. People showed up, really enjoyed the stream, and honestly, these retro react streams are an opportunity for me to actually earn something on the Throwback channel, because otherwise, the only earnings I get is, I think in the entirety of the channel existing for a month and a half, I've gotten 2 super thanks on video. So 2 people contributed with the super thanks on a video. And outside of that, memberships. of which there's very few legit members over on that channel. You know, I think there's maybe like 20, if that, maybe like 10 actually. And everything else is, of course, the fake gifted memberships that people have been abusing on YouTube that I don't get paid for. So, you know, when I do these streams, this is opportunity for people to come out and support the channel, and they do. Like, I've done 3 of these. I did Red Dead a month ago, Dark Souls 1 2 weeks ago, and last night it was Heavy Rain from 2010. And usually we get a decent crowd between 250 to 350 viewers, and they're all people who are really excited and engaged for the classic content. So is it a giant crowd? No. But these are people who've been around for a very long time watching my stuff over the years, and they want to kind of go down memory lane and reminisce about the old days of YouTube and how different it used to be back then. I mean, just to give you some perspective, the Heavy Rain playthrough, every part of it has over 100,000 views. Part 1 has over 500,000 views. But if I were to make that commentary today, people would probably, like, cancel me and flag the videos and say, oh, this is awful. How dare you say this stuff in the modern day? It's completely not right, right? Because that's how it is today. Things have changed. In 14 years, culture has changed. YouTube has changed. You're not allowed to say and do the things you used to do back then, because back then people got the joke. Today, everyone's offended by everything. Things have definitely changed. So, you know, you're watching back the playthrough and you're like, oh, wow, that's funny what he's saying. But yeah, a lot of it is over the top when it comes to sexual comments and some racial stuff and things like that. Yeah, that's how it was. That's why people loved my content back in the day, because it was very irreverent. It was definitely for a different era. That's what got me noticed on YouTube, you know. So we did about 2.5 hours last night of reacting to Heavy Rain, and people seemed to love it, those who were there. And now the video was uploaded, you know, part 1, overnight. So it's been live for around 12 hours now. And I would argue it's doing pretty good. You know, people are liking the video, leaving comments, reminiscing, saying, wow, we really love this. And essentially people are asking for more of that, okay? Now, here's the thing. First of all, there's a couple things to address here. Number one, when I say, oh, it's popular, it's doing well, you might go look at the clip and be like, well, it only has 500 views. So how can you say it's doing well? Because for those who are watching it, they're loving it. You have to understand something about me that's very different from other creators. I have no aspirations to be rich and famous. I have no desire to blow up on YouTube and become big popular like I was 14 years ago. I mean, I'm not looking to get hundreds of thousands of views on a video. Being honest, you know, back then it was a different animal entirely. Today, I'm happy with my audience. I'm happy hanging out with you guys every day, enjoying what I do, and the fact that you guys like my content so much that you support me and allow me to make a living doing it means something to me, right? It's very meaningful that someone of my size and stature can still make a living on YouTube. So many people aspire to do it and can't, but because I've been doing this for so long and I have a dedicated viewer base that like me and my content, I can do it, all right? So I don't need 500,000 views on Heavy Rain in 2024 because the people who are here like the content enough that they want to keep it going and they'll support it, as opposed to requiring 500,000 views to make ad revenue on it. Do you see the difference? Now, in truth, would I like more people to watch the throwback content and enjoy it? Sure. There's a lot of effort going into that channel. You know, the upscaling, the editing, the putting the videos together, titling them, putting them into the playlist every day like clockwork, one video a day. And then these streams, setting them up, doing the polling, getting all that, that stuff set up. And, it is work. And it's time consuming. It's taking away from my other stuff. Would it be great if more people were exposed to it and said, oh, wow, this is what YouTube used to be like and this is cool to see it? Sure. But I don't think it's ever going to appeal to a mass audience at all. Like, I don't think a single video on DSP Throwback is ever going to hit the YouTube algorithm and get tons of views. I don't think that's what the channel's catered towards, right? It's catered towards the hardcore fans of my content who've been along for the ride for 15 plus years and want to reminisce about the old days. It's a place to do that, right? So, for those of you who like the channel, thank you. I definitely loved doing the stream last night. Now, to explain how it works, if you're a member over there, you instantly have access to any archive streams. So if you become a member today on DSP Throwback, you can watch the entirety of last night's stream unedited whenever you want. But if you're not a member, what I've done is broken it into 5 half-hour parts. Part 1 went live last night, and there'll be a new part every night for the next 4 nights over on DSP Throwback for 5.5 hours of gameplay. Okay? Now, here's the funny part is the stream did well. People supported it. People want more of it. But here's the thing. I am apprehensive about doing it on the regular because I feel like, number one, if you do it all the time, it doesn't feel special anymore. Like, for example, DSP versus the internet. Listen, I like the show, but we do it once a week. And at first, it was special. And then people just kind of said, man, it's just kind of a regular thing. And its popularity waned hugely, right? If we do the React stuff more sparingly, the retro React stuff, that is, basically, I think people will actually care more for it and look more forward to it because it's not happening all the time. Certainly not to say that we don't have a nearly unlimited well of content to draw upon. All these playthroughs from back in the day that are all the old style and look different and sound different and different commentary. I mean, we've got years of them to go through and experience together. So there's no shortage of it, you know? But it's not that. It's just that I don't feel like doing it every week is going to work that well, all right? However, now that I say that, after having done last night's stream, I'm doing it again next weekend on Sunday. We're going to have another full React day next Sunday. You might say, well, why are you doing it 2 weeks in a row like that if you just said you want to keep it sparing? Because in early March, there's a very high chance I'm going to have to take some nights off from streaming to work on my tax stuff and probably private patron React videos or other videos for patrons. So because of that, I'm probably going to not be able to do the Retro React stream for a couple of weeks. Maybe it won't be until like mid to late March that I bring them back and then I start doing them more regularly. So, because of that, next week we're doing it again. And already I have put up a poll on the community tab of DSP Throwback. What do you want to see for the Retro React stream next Sunday night? The options are as follows. Continue Red Dead Redemption 1, which was the first stream we ever did. Continue Dark Souls 2, which is the second stream we ever did. Continue Heavy Rain, which was last night's stream. Or start up Bully from 2013. Undoubtedly, Bully is probably another one of those really famous playthroughs that I did. That one is very unique, and you want to know why? Because Bully was the playthrough that was the transition between using a camera and pointing it at a television and instead adopting direct capture and live streaming. It happened right in the middle of the playthrough, all right? So because of that, it's very unique. It's the old style, and then it transitions into a more modern style. But also, that playthrough was hilarious because, number one, I had never played, Bully or anything like that. This was right around the time, the year before, I'd played all the original GTA games like GTA 3, San Andreas, Vice City, and people wanted me to see me do more Rockstar games. So I played it, but I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't know that it was kind of like a hybrid of some of the gameplay of GTA with a different formula. And I had no clue. It had like school quizzes and shit. Like, geography class. Where are these countries and states? I mean, I couldn't do any of that. I failed miserably. It was hilarious how bad I was at it. Everyone laughed their asses off at me at how dumb I was in that regard. So there's definitely some really, really funny stuff in that playthrough that I feel like could be fleshed out in a Retro React. Not to say that the entire playthrough was hilarious, but there's some really funny moments in it, okay? I also think it included, there was a DLC, like a Christmas DLC, and I think it was included in that playthrough as well. So going back and reacting to that stuff for the first time could be quite fun. So those are your options. If you like the throwback stuff, please head over to DSP Throwback. It's youtube.com/@DSP Throwback. And please vote. I'd love to hear what you want to see for next week's stream. I'm down to continue Heavy Rain. It seems like a lot of people loved Heavy Rain last night. And they were like, man, we were just getting to the good part. Norman Jaden was using AR, which is hilarious because today we call it AR. 14 years ago, no one knew what that meant. So he's using AR glasses to investigate a crime scene, and now this stuff exists, which is hilarious that now it actually has become real technology. Well, back then it was just like a fantasy, right? So, people were really getting into it and liking it. I just did that wrong. I wanted to do this. I wanted to have the camera pan up a little bit more. But now what's this? Oh, that's my table. So now it's so low, now you can see the table on the side. Oh, this is the lowest I've ever had the camera, I think. This is all interesting because now I'm kind of resetting up stuff because now that I don't have a big pop guard anymore. So now I'm like, oh, will the camera look better if it angles this way or that way or whatever? So kind of messing around. So this is my table. I wonder if I moved it a little bit further. Now it's off camera? Okay. I was wondering if I can get it off camera. There you go. What about this down here? Oh, no, that's the chair. That's the chair arm. Okay, no problem. Cool. All right, anyway. Yeah. So last night was great. Please vote on what you want to see next week. I'm excited. And again, if you liked Heavy Rain, there's parts coming every day, every day this week for the next 4 days. But I really hope that people, if you haven't checked out the throwback stuff yet, please do. Again, every day there's a new video on that channel, either Red Dead or Final Fantasy 13. Now we've got it alternating with these awesome retro react streams and me reacting to the old stuff, and people are having a blast with it. So I would hope that it would maybe catch some more momentum. Maybe some of the people from this channel who didn't give it a shot, maybe you'll go give it a look, because I am putting a lot of time and effort into it, and I feel like it's hitting a good momentum and a good stride of regular content over there that you can enjoy. So please give it a look. Again, I would love to put more time into it, but right now, all I'm really getting out of that channel is when I do a stream, people come out and support, but that's it. You know, I can't really sink tons of time into the Throwback project until it starts to actually show that there's, you know, some rewards out of it, right? I'm actually earning something. But I can't be constantly streaming on it either. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks so much. I hope you'll continue to check it out, okay? Good. So that was yesterday, a full React day, and I had a great time with it. And I'm looking forward to it next Sunday as well. Let's now talk quickly about the schedule for the week so you know what's coming up. And then we'll do probably shout-outs, and then maybe we'll even do a little bit of the new suggestion box. There you go. So, today, back to full-time gaming. And today, we're going back to Tekken for Yoshimitsu. What we're going to do today, first thing, is we're going to bring Yoshimitsu into the character editor, and we're going to make a custom Yoshimitsu. All right? I don't know what they have for him to make a custom one. Some of the characters, like there was one version that he kind of looked like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, but I think they were actually going for that other character from The Boys. I forgot the character's name, the one that's like all in black and kind of looks like a ninja or whatever. I think that's who they were going for. So I've seen stuff like that, but I don't know what else is available. So we're going to make a custom-made Yoshimitsu, and then we're going to take him online and do ranked gameplay for the rest of today. Like, the whole day will be ranked gameplay, trying to get him ranked up, playing better opponents, learning with the character, and just doing my thing. Beating people up online, and probably also taking my licks. So, pretty excited for that. And I hope that you guys are excited, too, for a fun Tekken 8 stream, okay? Then tonight on the late stream, I'm pumped for this one, because after over 4.5 hours of cooperative gameplay with my wife, Kat, in the Dondoko Island simulation mode in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, tonight I go back to the game on my late stream, and I reap the rewards of all of that grinding gameplay. Over $96,000 were raised that now I can invest into my party. I can get better weapons, better equipment, do all the training at the school to unlock the final jobs I don't have, go to the blacksmith, level up all my weapons now for the first time. So I'm going to get a ton of rewards out of all that work. And then after we've done all of that, then we can figure out, what do we want to do? Do we want to just open world roam and do side quests in the city? Do we want to maybe go back to the optional dungeon and check out the second level, because now we're probably equipped to handle it? Do we want to advance the story? Do we want to try out Sujimon? Spoiler, I don't want to try Sujimon. At this point, I grinded almost 5 hours in Dondoko. I don't want to be doing another side content grinding segment. I feel like we'll save that for later, okay? But I am very excited to hang out with you guys tonight in a chill environment and reap the rewards of all of that hard work, okay? So please join me tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, the return of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I'm very excited for this, okay? And of course, Dark Gaming says, well, $97,000 won't take you far. The best weapons are $114,000 each. We don't need the best weapons in Chapter 6. That's endgame stuff, you know? I don't need to be buying the best weapons right now, okay? Okay, so that's today's streams. I'm excited for that. Tomorrow, we return to Baldur's Gate 3, and again, I'm pumped. Why? Because we just hit Act 3, and we're in the middle of a giant story dump. The game is explaining a lot of the big questions that we've had lingering over the course of the game all at once. And we ran out of time the other day right in the middle of all this plot exposition that was going to explain a ton of things. So we're going to get a lot of our answers on Tuesday. I'm very excited for that. So hopefully you will join me for that. Big plot dump and heading firmly into Act 3 now, the final act. Tuesday night, here's the deal. Because the Dondoko Island co-op is over, and we're not going back to do that right now, or I might not ever go back to do it, Tuesday night's completely open. All right? Now, we have some options. We were talking about this yesterday. I would say option number one is we could do Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 as a one-off stream. Now, I haven't played Call of Duty in about a month. There was an update on February 7th that added new elements to it. You know, it was like a Season 2 patch with new maps and stuff. I haven't played it in a million years. It would be great to maybe just do a one-off stream of that just for variety. That's number one option. Number two option could literally be just a hangout session. All we're doing is a chill night stream where people just come and talk, and we just do whatever we want to do. All right? And that's up to you. If you want to just hang out and talk for 2 hours, because we don't really have just pure hangout sessions these days, I'd be okay with that because it is just a one-off free night. Or what some people were suggesting was, why not check out like a Game Pass night where you go through Game Pass, you look at games, maybe you play some quick demos or whatever. And I'm okay with that, but the whole problem with a Game Pass night premise is that usually you do it when you have time to play games, like you're looking for a game to play to fill into your schedule. Well, guess what? We don't have time in the schedule for a new game right now at all. Like the whole point is we might find games that look great, and we add them to the Game Pass list, and then we never play them, and then they get removed from Game Pass. This actually happened about a year and a half ago. We did that, or it might have been like, I think it was early 2023. It might have been a different time. I can't remember. But basically, we were like, oh, let's do this random Game Pass night, and we did it, and then we never played any of the games, and now half of them aren't even on Game Pass anymore, right? So it's just kind of like, I get it, like it's something to do to hang out while we're talking or whatever, but at the same time, I don't know if it's very productive. And then I would say the fourth option, because there's basically four options here, Tekken 8. Do another night of Tekken 8 gameplay, whether it's Yoshimitsu further, or maybe we go back to a character like Jun, who I haven't used in a while. Whatever it may be, doing the another night of that to squeeze one in. So, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer, just a chill night where we interact and hang out, a Game Pass night that honestly probably won't have much come of it, but it's just kind of a time waster night, or Tekken 8 multiplayer. So, I don't know what you guys would want. I hope that you guys will give me feedback over the course of today, because I'm down for any of that. Like, any of that sounds good to me. Okay? Tommy Salami says we want Street Fighter 6. Well, that makes one of you, because I'm pretty sure most people are burnt out on Street Fighter 6. Like, next week, for those who don't know, next week on the 27th, they're releasing Ed, the next expansion character for Street Fighter 6. Which, I mean, admittedly, when I saw the trailer for him last week on my React show, he looked interesting because he has like a hybrid of different kinds of gameplay. Notably, like Dudley from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. But honestly, I don't see myself getting into it right now next week because I'm still like Tekken. I want to keep playing Tekken. I've now worked a lot on Tekken gameplay in the last month. And we're going to have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth balanced with everything else I'm already doing. I don't think there's time to go back to Street Fighter 6 right now. Just being honest, I don't feel, only having taken a month away from it as a break, I don't feel like now's the time to go back to it. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but I feel like Street Fighter 6 wants to stay more pertinent, so they purposely timed that Ed would release about a month after Tekken, hoping that they're going to bring back a player base. But honestly, I think right now Tekken is the better or more hype game, I should say. So I'm having a good time with that. And I want to kind of keep doing that. So anyway, so that's what's going on. We got to figure out what we're going to do tomorrow night. And right now, those are the four options. Again, Call of Duty, chill hangout night, Game Pass night, or Tekken 8 extra multiplayer gameplay. And I mean, all those streams are a little different, right? All of them are definitely different. Then Wednesday is my final consecutive streaming day of the week. More Baldur's Gate 3 and more Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Thursday I'm off. Friday it'll be Baldur's Gate 3 and Friday Night Fights Tekken. Saturday, Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon. Sunday, all-day React Day. DSP versus the internet, and then Retro React for whatever people vote for on the Throwback channel. Monday, more Tekken 8 and Infinite Wealth, and then Tuesday, more Baldur's Gate 3 and Infinite Wealth, and then I'm off of that Wednesday, which would be the 28th. And you might say, why am I taking a Wednesday off instead of a Thursday when Thursday is always my day off? Because Friday is the release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I want to be here all day long for the release of Rebirth to play it all day with you. So that's why I'm changing my schedule up to specially be here for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think it's going to be a great launch event that we're all going to enjoy. So, pretty cool. And then, of course, we'll take that into, March. First few weeks of March will be a balance between all those games. And then mid-March, we got new games coming out like Rise of the Ronin, as well as Dragon's Dogma 2. And we'll talk about how we're going to tackle them as we approach them. Next big event, birthday. My birthday is the first week of April. So we're going to plan a birthday event out, a marathon for that time frame. Don't know what we're going to do during the event yet, because obviously it's a ways away, and I'm sure you guys might have some ideas of things that we could do during the birthday event. Let me know your thoughts. But that's the next big, marathon event that we're going to do. Fair enough. All right, so before we get to shout-outs and before we get to maybe suggestion box stuff and things like that, I just want to thank you all for all of your ongoing support, and I want to say particularly to everyone who is coming out and hanging out. I know right now we haven't had any new games for a while. The new games that have come out in the last month, quite frankly, are just not either my style of game or just aren't good games. Like, I wasn't going to play Suicide Squad. Everyone knew it was a dud, and it is. No one's talking about it. No one's playing it. The game's dead. All right? Helldivers 2. Listen, I'm really happy for the success of Helldivers 2, a game that's not from some giant big budget studio. It's a discount game at $40, and it has ridiculous amounts of sales and success. Great. But it's a two-player co-op shooter game. I don't play co-op shooter games, so it's not my forte. It's one that I'm going to skip, but I'm happy that it's doing well. Like, I'm actually very happy. I see on social media every day people are really enjoying this game, but good for them. Again, this is a reminder that you don't have to be a giant AAA studio to be successful or popular. In fact, it seems like more and more often it's the smaller studios coming out with games that are successful. First we had Pal World, now we have Helldivers 2, and then the big budget games come out like Suicide Squad and flop, right? So maybe things are changing. Maybe people are finally starting to attach themselves to better games instead of big budget hype games. And that's good, because I hate to say it, in the last decade, I feel like there were too many big budget hype games that got tons of attention and sales because they were big budget hype AAA marketed games. And then a lot of other great games got forgotten or missed. Now it seems like those games are getting the attention they deserve. So congrats to Helldivers 2 on doing so well. I'm actually very happy to see that. And I am watching I've seen many clips on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, of the game. And it looks great. I'm like, man, if I was still doing co-op stuff like that, probably it would have been an awesome playthrough for me. But I'm just, I'm not into that stuff. So for those who are enjoying it, congrats on enjoying it. It sounds like a great time, right? Okay, so, there you have it. So, that's what I mean. Like, right now, a lot of these games coming out aren't my style or have been bad games. So, that's why we've stuck to our guns, and I've been playing Like a Dragon, Baldur's Gate 3, Tekken 8, and there's really nothing new. There's nothing to put in there. I tried Pal World. We did it for about 10, 11 hours, and doesn't really work that well. It's not as good as, say, a Minecraft-style game. So, it is what it is. But we got new stuff on the horizon. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I hope, will rejuvenate things, and more people will come back to the channel who haven't been here in weeks or months to see the big new release of the year. And then after that, there's more new games coming in March as well that hopefully people will check out. So, okay. Cool. By the way, I'm really annoyed. I have a catch in my nail here. It's driving me bonkers. And I feel like I should go take care of it, because if I don't, this is going to bother me the entire show. So I'm going to mute the mic, go to the bathroom for 1 minute, take care of this, and come right back. I bet you guys wish you could work in Breath of the Wild pajama pants. They're very comfy. Anyway, all right. So now that's that. And what I was going to say was thank you to those who are supporting my content despite the fact there hasn't really been a new game in the rotation in several weeks. There are new games coming. I'm excited for that. But I'm happy for those of you that are here every day, hanging out with me, chilling, enjoying the podcast, enjoying the games I am playing, enjoying the chill vibes of the retro, react stuff, and stuff like this. It's all good stuff. And please consider right now supporting the content if you haven't recently. Notably, if you were gifted one of the fake memberships, and I say fake because they really are. If you're getting something literally for nothing and no one has paid for it and no one gets any credit for it, it's basically stolen content, right? No one should be getting thousands of free memberships to this channel or any of my channels. It's a fucking problem, and YouTube needs to fix it, but there's nothing I can really do about that. But if you got one of those memberships and you're enjoying it, and it's maybe something that you would have bought yourself to support the channel, I would ask if you could please do something to support the channel other than that. Whether it be a super chat, a super sticker, a membership that's legit, a gifted membership to a community member that's legit, or a tip. That would help me a lot right now. I am down a lot of revenue, and I'm basically kind of stabilizing right now. So I'm kind of seeing now with the new gifted membership issue where I'm going to be at. And it's a lot lower than it used to be, which is not good, obviously. I'd like it to maybe get a boost, possibly when I play new games coming up, but there's not much I can do about that. You know, it's not, I didn't do anything wrong. People are watching the content. My overall views are up. My overall watch time and engagement is up for the last 2 months, yet everything's down revenue-wise because of this issue. So any support of any kind right now is much appreciated. Please consider it. I'm not going to sit here and harp on it all day. But I just want to let you know, right now, anything would be appreciated. If you're watching this podcast right now on demand, you watch it every day religiously and you love it. Are you a channel member? Chances are you probably are because so many people got gifted a membership. Well, maybe consider leaving a super thanks on this podcast after the fact. That will support the channel. Even if it's, a little bit, a dollar. It helps, man. It really would to help to the fact that I have all of this lost income and I don't really have a way to really recoup it right now. Anything would help. Okay? All right. Done. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to talk about it all day. Let's get to shout-out, shall we? So our first contribution of the day was from Slow Motion, who did a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Slow Motion. Very much appreciated. A generous contribution there. And then Slow Motion actually had done a second super chat for another $10. So thank you, Slow Motion, for all those super chats this morning. OG Cookies TV, also with a $1 super chat there. So thank you for that. And so OG Cookies TV is the latest super chatter. For the record, because some people ask me this from time to time, so I'd like to actually address it. Some people say, Phil, why don't you have biggest super chat? Just like you have top tip, why don't you have like top super chat on your leaderboard? And the answer is very simple. Because sadly, YouTube does not discern between denominations of currency. So for example, right now someone could come in here and do a 20-pound super chat. Then someone could come in here and do a 20 euro super chat. Then someone could come in here and do a 20 rubles super chat. And I have no way to discern between them to know what's the biggest one, sadly. And it sucks because I wish I did. I wish that YouTube would do that, like put it all into one currency so you could tell. So I can't really do anything about that. To control it. I don't have a currency converter here where on the fly I could be adjusting super chat denominations against each other to see who's the biggest one. The easiest thing to do is just put the latest super chatter on the leaderboard. When it comes to tips, the vast majority of my tips come in USD or, United States denomination. So because of that, that's easier to figure out, and that's why I do it that way. Okay? So there you go. See, here you go. Wells Wade says the pound is now more expensive than the euro. See, I don't even know. So the pound you're saying is the biggest. The euro is second, rubles third. But where's the USD in there? The pound is more valuable than the dollar, correct? But is the euro more valuable than the dollar? Or is the dollar more valuable than the euro right now? Because it keeps changing, right? I don't know. Pound first, euro second, dollar third, I'm being told. There you go. Anyway, let's get to tips, shall we? So our first tip of the day is a $6.66 tip from Sandy Claus, who says, Tekken is love, Tekken is life. Well, there you go. Thank you to Sandy Claus for a 666 tip. If I can find the animation, I promise you I'll click on it. There it is. Thank you, Sandy Claus, for the first tip of the day. Let's get that up on the leaderboard. Just let's be honest, you just wanted to see me with a flaming ass, didn't you? I do have to lay off the spicy foods. I mean, I just did have spicy lamb biryani the other day, which was absolutely delicious. Anyway, thank you, Sandy Claus. Shout out to a $5 tipper, Super Snow Carl Turbo HD Remix, okay? Well, thank you for the $5 tip, but I'm not even going to address what you're saying because it's drama. And I don't, as you know, I don't feed in the drama anymore. I just don't. I don't care about it. I'm too old for that shit. I'm not going to cause problems with the things that I say. And I'm not going to, so I hope you understand, because I understand what you're saying. I know your comment here. You're trying to basically goad like a joking drama response. I'm just not going to say shit. I'm done with that. You know, I really am. Like, I'll just say this. I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with the level of popularity that I have. I'm happy with everything. You know, so that's that. I'm happy. There you go. Done. So now you guys can all try to figure out what it was that Super Snow Carl HD Remix tried to get me to say. and why I just responded like that. You're free to speculate. But I'm not going to take that bait, per se, because I know that basically that would just open a can of worms and a bunch of idiots would cause problems. Okay? Fair enough. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, so right now it's 11:54. We have some options, okay? Option number one, we could just do some Q&A. And you guys could throw questions my way and we could do open Q&A. Option number two, if you want, we could go to the suggestion box that was open 2 days ago. Not even. It was like a day and a half ago. And see what suggestions are in there if you want to address some of them. So I'll let you guys determine what would you like to do. Just some open Q&A for a bit? Or would you like to actually just take the early suggestion box stuff? What do you want to do? Suggestion box, let's talk politics. Suggestion box. All right, we'll do some suggestion box. Let's do it. I actually got it ready. I prepared for this, just in case you guys wanted it. What's up, Jade? Good morning. Good to see you here, Jade. Welcome to the stream. I know yesterday you skipped all the React stuff. It's good to have you back today. All right, so we start off with a suggestion. I'm not going to read any names, so that way it avoids drama. But, I mean, this is a public post. Anyone could look it up if they wanted to. But I'm not going to read names on the stream just to avoid drama, all right? So, hello. Ready? So here comes the first suggestions. There's no need to recap the previous day on the podcast. We already have the daily wrap. Well, here's the thing. The daily wrap is a brief 5 to 10 minute video to very quickly recap what happened in the last day. So if you missed it, you go back and check it out. When I talk about the day before on the podcast, it's not the same segment. Yes, we're talking about the same topics, but it's more fleshed out. It gives a lot more supplementary info. Like, for example, today on this show, I explained the premise of DSP Throwback, all the work that's going into the standard videos that go there every day. Then I talked about the stream last night and how successful it was, why it's successful, even though it's not giant views, I still consider it successful, and talking about the future of it and the poll. I only talked about maybe 1/3 of that last night on the daily wrap, because the daily wrap is a fast video meant to just recap the day, get out of here, right? This is where you flesh it out for more in-depth discussion. And by the way, a lot of the times when we end up recapping what I did the day before here on the show, we end up getting into other topics or talking additionally about it, and that's good because it leads to other stuff. While there's no open discussion on the daily wrap is just me talking, done. Here on the podcast, it's different. There's back and forth. I see you guys responding live in the chat, and it allows me to have feedback and very critical input. That's why I like doing that on the show, okay? So I understand what you're saying. If you're someone who literally is sitting here watching all of my content, you might be like, well, that's repetition. Well, technically, there's a small amount of repetition in there. You're right. But I definitely feel like doing it on the show and then adding to it and extrapolating upon it and getting your immediate feedback on it is way more meaningful than me just talking to myself on the Daily Wrap and leaving it at that. Okay? Here's the thing. Back in the day, you're right, I would agree with you. But here's the thing. Back in the day, I used to get tons of comments on videos. So I would do a video like the Daily Wrap, and I get 100 comments, and all of them would be constructive criticism and feedback. I don't get that anymore, right? Now I get most of my feedback right here on the stream. So if I don't mention something on the stream, I might never get feedback on it. So that's why I kind of have to talk about it on the stream the next day. I hope that makes sense, okay? Mentioning the schedule every podcast makes the first 10 to 15 minutes uninteresting. Well, first of all, I don't always do it at the first 10 to 15 minutes, but okay. Once at the start of the streaming week should be sufficient, plus schedule is here already, the schedule command. Okay, once at the start of the streaming week should be sufficient is completely wrong. The schedule changes constantly around here. Most of the time, the schedule that I have when I come back to work on Friday ends up not being the schedule that we have by the end of the week. Case in point, look at this week. We thought that there was going to be Dondoko Island Co-op all week. Guess what? It's already done. So now we got other things we need to figure out. If I don't mention that on the podcast, how will I figure out what you guys want for Tuesday night? You see? Already, there's your evidence that it makes sense to do it on the show. Now, I understand, again, if you're someone who's here literally every day and you're an adamant watcher of all my content, oh, man, when he does the schedule, that's just repetition. Yes, but notice that sometimes the schedule changes. Sometimes I have to get your direct feedback on what I want to do for the schedule when it changes. This is critical to me. Again, the interaction that I get on the podcast is key constructive input and criticism that I use to improve my content every day. If I don't talk about these things on the podcast, I don't get feedback. Because again, not a lot of people leave comments on videos. If they did, that would be different. But that was different. Back in the day, I used to get tons of comments. Now I get almost none. Right? So that's why it's critical to bring this stuff up on the show. Okay? Fair enough. And by the way, the schedule command, half the time I forget to update it because I'm old and stupid. Right? I'm getting old and senile at 41 years old. I'm about to be 42. If I forget all this stuff when I'm 41, can you imagine how much I'm going to forget when I'm 42? There you go. 672 did a super chat. He says, everyone agrees that the schedule is redundant but you. How dare you speak to me that way in a disrespectful tone? I will now permanently ban you from my chat. Get out of here, 672. There you go. You're gone. It's funny because he thinks because he attached a super chat that he could just say whatever he wants. Well, you're absolutely right. No, I'm just kidding. For those who don't know, 672 and I razz each other back and forth. It's not serious. We're just messing around. It's funny, actually. I like having that little bit of camaraderie of razzing back and forth. Thank you, 672, for the super chat. Okay. Lest someone take it seriously and think that we're actually at each other's throats. We're not. We're just joking around. Okay. Before we continue on with any suggestions, a few more contributions have come in that I should shout out. So hold on a second here. Excuse me. Anime Slayer tipped $1. Disappointed that the Dondoko co-op is over because we did hype it up, and feeling that co-op should be two people playing together. Well, Dondoko can't be played together. And you're wrong, by the way. So what does the really word co-op mean? What is it short for? Cooperation, correct? Two people working in tandem to accomplish a common goal. So what was the co-op goal with Dondoko? Number one, to get further in that mode to unlock currency so when I go back to the main game, we can continue on and buy better items and do basically what we're going to do tonight, go on like a spending spree. That was the first goal. The second goal was to essentially make entertaining content for you guys, right? So there's two goals. The two co-op goals, get as far into the mode as possible and make entertaining content. Well, because of Kat's expertise in the mode, we did turbo through it. Like if I just played that for myself that first night, there was no way we would hit 2 stars in one night. That never would have happened. It's because she knew what she was doing. She knew the things to build, how to do it fast, where to run around, what to unlock quick. She knew how to do that, and it was her expertise in it that allowed us to succeed. And that first night was very successful when it came to entertainment value. The problem was, night 2 completely flipped it on its head. Night 2, it became more boring. It was the same grinding stuff over and over. Things weren't advancing as fast. We were getting tired. We were getting very bored with this and voice show. We were doing something else. And honestly, I could tell she was getting fatigued from doing it and wasn't having a good time. If we're not having a good time doing co-op, there's no point to doing it. You understand? We're not putting entertaining content out if we're not, both of us are not enjoying it. So it's much better to observe that, acknowledge it, and adjust for it than to force yourself to continue with something that no one's enjoying. I don't feel like if we had kept doing the Dondoko Island co-op that it would have been enjoyable for anyone, because for us it would have been a boring grind, and to the viewers we wouldn't have been very happy. We wouldn't, really, if you take a look, essentially it wasn't even that entertaining that second half of that stream because we were so tired and annoyed at the game that we weren't having fun even talking with the audience anymore. And that's not the audience's fault. That's just a situation, right? In life, you acknowledge when something is not going so well, and then you adjust for it. If you ignore the problem, then the problem just gets worse, bubbles up, and extrapolates, and then maybe blow up. Why do another 2 streams of Dondoko Island Co-op that we're not enjoying and you're not enjoying? What's the point, right? So, it is co-op. By the way, it's not like it was only one person doing it. Both times, I took over for her at one point and started doing the gameplay as well. If you want to be super stickler to say, well, no, you two weren't cooperating in the gameplay, that's not the definition of what a co-op stream is. I hate to tell you. But, yeah, I mean, there's other games that have co-op gameplay. We're just not doing them right now. And again, we've already discussed this, that some of the games you guys suggested, It Takes Two. She's not interested in that at all. She doesn't care about that game. Pal World, she does not like it at all. She watched me play it once. She was so bored. She's like, I would never want to do that. We're going to eventually probably get to a point where we find stuff where Kat will want to participate in, but we just haven't found it yet. Now, again, we've dabbled with the idea that perhaps she'd like to come in as a guest commentator on a night when I'm just doing regular Like a Dragon. Right? Maybe one of these nights I'll be saying it's a Like a Dragon night, and Kat will just appear and say, hey, I'm here. I just want to hang out and watch you play and do some commentary with you. Great. She's always welcome to do that, and I'm sure she'll let me know if she wants to do that. That's how we'll approach it. But, yeah, we're not going to force anything. We're not going to force content that's not good, because it's just not going to be good content. It's going to be shit. We're not going to pretend like we're liking a mode we don't like. We're not going to be overly with the audience when it's boring. We're not going to do that. We're not fake people. We're not people who put on a happy face and act like a character on a stream to make $1. We're real people. That's the difference. I mean, maybe you're so used to streamers who go on, oh, we're doing co-op tonight, and the whole night, oh, it's happy rainbows and unicorns and everything's so great. Everyone's having a great time. That's not us. We're real people. You're getting the real us on our streams. Okay, continuing on. Let's see here. I'm trying to understand this. Let me read it. It was a $1.99 tip from anonymous tipper. If you stop recapping on the show after the daily wrap, it encourages people to watch those old videos. Why watch it if you tell us everything? So what you're saying is, again, I'm trying to hammer this in to make sure I'm understanding it. Because on the next day's podcast, I'm telling you what happened the day before, you have no incentive to go watch it. I don't believe that at all. Right? That would like be saying, so last night there was a new episode of The Boys. Now you have absolutely no idea what's on the show, so you're not checking it out yet. But then the next morning, everyone at the office is talking about last night's episode of The Boys and how exciting it was. So now you're enticed to go watch it. Right? If I hadn't mentioned today, wow, that Retro React stream last night was really good of Heavy Rain, you might be like, nah, I'll check it out when I get a chance. But now I'm talking about it. I'm saying, wow, it was really good. The feedback is outstandingly positive. Everyone says they loved it. They want more. Vote for what you want next week. You're tight. Oh my God, I want to go check it out now. Right? So I don't understand what you're saying there at all. I'm not literally sitting here for 2 hours in real time telling you moment by moment what happened. Right? If that was the case, that'd be different. But that's not what's happening, so I don't understand what you're saying. I don't know. Let's continue on. Hold on a second here. Okay. I have received a $25 tip for 1 Minute Man. He says, so far, hold on. Hold on. Let me play animation. Oh, he has a giant paragraph. You know 1 Minute Man, a lot of times he has a lot to say. So let me play the animation, get him on the leaderboard first. All right. Here we go. Here we are. Okay. So, 1 Minute Man. Oh, wait. Okay. 1 Minute Man says, so you didn't romance anyone in Baldur's Gate 3. That's fine. The option is lurking in almost every personal dialogue. I will agree there. It seems like the game developers really, really, really want to push it down your throat that you should be doing a personal relationship in Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, even Withers mentions it and says, gee, you didn't hook up with anyone yet. It's like, Withers, what the fuck are you talking about? You're supposed to be like a necromantic summoner. Why would you even bring this up? It makes no fucking sense. It really does seem to me like they're really trying to wedge that relationship shit down your throat. Why don't you once try an option and see how the game deals with it? And let's get a sample of how it works. Likely there's an opportunity with a feisty female winged creature later. Oh boy. She could help you or take you on a wild ride. It could be fun. Don't be shy. I think I've already explained many times my feelings about this, okay? Listen, if you're someone who plays Baldur's Gate 3 and you like everything about it and you like the fact that these options are in there, more power to you to enjoy a virtual romance option. Just like in any of these games, you know, for example, any of these visual novel games, usually there's the opportunity to have the waifu or husbando character, right? There's even entire genres of gaming based around it, correct? In Japan, it's huge. They have all these different games based around that kind of stuff, right? If you like it, good for you, right? And that's fine. My personal take is this. Unlike other games that I've played in the past, for example, Mass Effect 1, right, has these relationships with certain characters, whether it be Ashley or Liara or whoever, where over the course of natural dialogue in the game, it feels like those characters, and not you as a virtual person superimposing yourself into the feet of Shepard, but it feels like Shepard and those characters could actually have some kind of a real attachment or relationship growing over the course of the game. Per your dialogue choices in the game, you can unlock romance, right? And it feels organic and natural with the way that they put it into those games, right? This is my take. You can disagree. I feel like in Baldur's Gate 3, this was a feature. They wanted to sell this game based on you can hook up with anyone, right? So they made it easy. At one point, I mean, at the end of Act 1, there's the party with the tieflings, and literally everyone in the camp hits on you and wants to sleep with you. Oh yeah, that's really realistic. That immediately, because you had one victory, right, in combat, everyone now wants to sleep with you, right? It's like, what? That's not meaningful development. It wasn't built through meaningful dialogue or relationships or anything like that. It was literally thrown at you as a dangling piece of meat. Hey, for those of you out there who want virtual romance, here it is. Come get it. Do it with anyone in the game. Come on, come on. And, you know, I hate to say it, but you can get that feeling when I'm playing the game. And when there's people in the chat who are like, are you going to fuck the bear? Are you going to fuck the bear? You sound like an 8-year-old, right? You sound like an immature idiot drooling over the fact that there's romance options in the game and that everyone should just do them because they're in there. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? Now, again, if you're someone who is playing this game for yourself in your private life, you're not broadcasting it across the fucking internet to an audience of thousands of people, right? And I say thousands because even though there's a few hundred on my stream, there's all the rebroadcasters and there's also everyone who watches my stuff on demand, right? If you want to enjoy the romance options, go for it. I'm not criticizing you, but I'm saying my personal take is that would be something that you would want to enjoy for yourself in your own private playthroughs, right? It's not like right now, let's start watching rated R movies, softcore porn from the 1980s and 90s of people boning. We're not going to do that on a YouTube stream. It's fucking weird. That's stuff for your own private enjoyment. You don't ask someone to partake it with you publicly, right? You don't. That's weird shit. Again, I've equated it to, imagine if you're sitting there watching a movie with your family members, and all of a sudden there's a love scene on the screen. Well, that's kind of awkward, because I'm sitting here with my parents and family members, and there's two people making out on the screen. Like, whoa, it's weird, right? That's something for your private life, your private enjoyment. It's not to be publicly displayed, right? Maybe you disagree, and if you do, that's also okay. But you got to respect my opinion on it. I don't want to be doing public romance stuff in my content, on my streams. That's not what I'm about. You're not coming here for that kind of stuff. Back in the day, 14 years ago in my old playthroughs, yeah, I was trying to appeal to a teen audience, right? So back then it made sense. Today, I'm not appealing to a teen audience. I'm appealing to a more mature adult audience who've been along the ride with me. All right? The bottom line is, if you're someone who's here bothering me about this shit every day, why are you doing that? Do you know how fucking obnoxious that is? You shouldn't be bothering me personally about doing romance in games if I don't want to do it, right? How about I come to your house and I nag you every day to do something you don't like? What if I really feel like you should eat peanut butter and banana sandwiches? So every day when you go to make lunch, I sit there in your face and I say, make peanut butter banana, make peanut butter banana, make peanut butter banana. Well, I don't like peanut butter banana. Fucking make peanut butter banana. The bananas and the peanut butter are right there on the counter, so make it, bitch. No. Respect someone's desires to do or not do something. Don't fucking force them and twist their fucking, the knife into their back. It just makes it more annoying. And this is the thing, too, that people don't get about me, because I've tried to explain it over the years, and I swear people don't get it. The more you nag me about something, the less apt I am to do it. That's just the kind of person I am. Because if you keep bothering me about something that I've outright already answered or told you I don't want to do, it just destroys all desire that I would ever have to want to actually do it. Right? So, yeah, when immediately I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3, open the doors, because there's sex in that room. Have sex with the bear. Bone this character. Bone that character. You sound like a bunch of fucking immature teenagers. Like you're full of hormones raging out of your bodies and you're uncontrolled. What is wrong with you? If you want that, that's fine. Enjoy it in your own time, your own space, in your own playthroughs, right? Or go to someone else's horn dog streams where they're doing that kind of stuff. You're not going to find that content here. Why are you even looking for it? You know what I'm saying? Seriously. But again, that's the point I'm making, is the more you bother me about it, the less I would even be inclined to do it. That's just how I am. I don't know. It really is in my life. Let's kind of, maybe it's an authority thing. You know, you tell me what to do. If you justify to me why to do something, then I'll do it. But if you just tell me to do it because you want it, then I won't do it. I don't know. That's kind of how I've always been. Maybe it is a thing, a mental thing from my childhood. Who knows, right? I wonder why I'm like that, but I'm definitely like that, right? On the flip side of that, if you tell me there's something that I can't do, then I'll probably be motivated to prove you wrong and do it, right? So you tell me to do something, I won't do it. If you tell me I can't do something, I will do it. That's weird, but that is how my mind is wired. Now that I'm thinking about it and just talking out loud on the podcast, that's definitely how I am, right? So anyway, that's how I am. So yeah, listen, again, I'm not going to sit here and hate on people who want to partake in romance in Baldur's Gate 3. Go for it, right? If that's what floats your boat, if this is what you want to do, have fun with it. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me in the least, right? It's kind of like, also, and this is what I also don't get about people, because there's like, so people want to be happy in their lives, right? They just want to be, people say, well, I'm gay. I don't care. Good for you. Happy. I'm happy for you that you found yourself and you found your sexuality and you can find a significant other who you love. Go for it. I want everyone in life to be happy. Really, I do. But it's when you start superimposing belief systems on others that it becomes obnoxious and intrusive and in some cases harmful, okay? Go ahead and be happy in your own life, in your own way. I completely am accepting of anyone who's gay, trans, and all of that. That's fine. But then when you start creating like wars between people who are straight and gay or trans, that's when it crosses the line. And I see this all the time online and social media. War, oh my God, because you're not 100% on this side or 100% on that side. You're all enemies. No, you're not. You got to grow up and be mature at some point, right? And it's the same thing here. Listen, I don't want to partake in the sexual content in a game. It's my personal preference. I've justified it out the ass a million times why I don't want to do it. I'm uncomfortable doing it. I don't think it's good in a public setting. I have no desire to have virtual relationships in video games because I'm happily married and I have that in my real life. I don't need it virtually represented in a video game. I don't get any enjoyment out of it. Literally, to do it would be forcing me to do something I don't enjoy in my playthrough that's supposed to be for enjoyment. So why would I do that? Right? And if you don't respect that, I don't know what to tell you, because I can only express myself in a respectful manner as much as I can before I'm going to start to get pissed, right? And if people keep bugging me about the shit, I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to ignore you now. I'm just not going to pay any attention to you if you're asking me to do things I've already justified a million times why I'm not interested in doing them, okay? I've rationally, matter-of-factly, very nicely, up front have told you a million times, I don't like it, I'm not doing it. And if you keep bugging me, you're going to piss me off, all right? So I'm just going to try to continue to be calm and not flip my lid, right? But again, now you know the kind of person that I am. You know what I'm saying? The kind of person I am is, if you tell me to do something and you can't 100% justify why I should do it, I don't want to do it. And on the flip side, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm more motivated to do it. You understand? So there you have it. Why do you think that so many people piss me off when they keep asking for the same shit over and over? You know, no, I'm not going to do it, right? So there you go. And again, I don't want anyone to take offense at what I'm saying, because I'm not. I'm trying to be as not offensive as possible. I'm not offended at the fact that people think that it might be funny to see me react to this stuff in the game. I don't care for it. It literally would annoy me to do it, so don't ask for it. I'm trying to be as nice as possible about it. I don't know why people don't understand at this point that you're actually, like, annoying me now by bothering me with this stuff, right? If you're a well-intentioned viewer or fan and you know that I don't like it, stop asking me to keep doing it, right? I'm not going to do it. The more you bug me about it, the less inclined I am to do it. You understand? Every once in a while it's a joke. Like, I thought it was funny when accidentally you get into one of these conversations, like with Gale, and they're talking about, what was it? The veil or whatever it was, and the magic powers, and all of a sudden he wants to smooch you. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought that we were talking about the magic powers of D&D, and now all of a sudden this guy wants to start making out. Like, that's ridiculous, right? That's funny, right? But then you can say, okay, no, I'm not going that far. It's ridiculous. You can cancel out of it. But it's so unnaturally wedged into the game. Again, I feel like they wanted to make this a selling point for certain kinds of people who are so into virtual romance in video games with their, it's a whole industry. It really is a whole industry that now it's a selling point of Baldur's Gate 3 that you could do this with all the cast, and it's so easy to do because they're jumping your bones after the first third of the game, right? It's ridiculous. So if you want that, go for it. I'm not all about that. Please stop bothering me about it. I'm trying to be as nice as possible. I'm not interested in it, all right? It's really getting to the point where it's like I feel like people are trying to purposely piss me off. That's not good. I don't want to feel like people who I thought are longtime fans and supporters are trying to purposely upset me. I don't think that's the case, but I want you to understand I'm trying to make this as clear as possible now. It's upsetting me. Stop bringing it up and bugging me about it, because I'm not going to do it. The more you ask, the less inclined I am. Okay? Okay. Very good. I don't know if I can make it more clear than that and be more calm about it as I talk about it. I really don't. I tried to keep my cool here, all right? Okay, continuing on here. It looks like there was a few super chats that came in. We had a troll here who I got to get rid of. Let's see. I do feel, I will say this, I do feel that what it is that in a lot of cases, I feel like people just don't want to let go of the past. Because remember, I get 10, 15 years ago, that's the kind of content that I focused on because it got teenagers to watch my content. It did. Teenagers were all about that, sexual, risque stuff. They loved it. I haven't been like that in so many years. I changed many, many years ago. Just like people who bug me about John Rambo co-op and shit. It's like, guys, I haven't talked to John Rambo in 9 fucking years. It's not happening. I'm never going to do co-op with John Rambo again. I'm never going to go back to being the immature sexual commentary guy again. It's just not happening. It doesn't matter how much you desire it, how many wishes upon a star you have. Reality is reality. Things change over time. For the better, in my opinion. I like my content today better than the stuff I used to do. Having to constantly be stretching the limits of the commentary I can do and always say the most ridiculous over-the-top thing to get attention on my content. I like my content now more. I really enjoy this better. Having real relationships, real conversations is what I meant to say. Real social interactions with all of you. Instead of it me, sex, racism, or racial commentary, sex, violence. I don't have to do that anymore. I literally don't have to fill every moment of dead air. And I like that better. It's more true to who I am. Instead of me making crazy, really pushing the boundary shit up every moment. Instead, we could just be real people. That's much better. Okay? Now, if you don't agree with that, you probably should have jumped ship from my content like 8 years ago. It's been that long. Are you aware? It's literally been that long since I changed my content. People just don't seem to realize it yet. It's like, yeah, it's been that long. So, time to move on. It's time to stop asking for old Phil. Old Phil is old and in the past and is not coming back. But there's a reason why I have a throwback channel. So, if you still want to enjoy those old times and the old style, it's still there. You can still get it and like it and enjoy it over there. And we can all laugh at it together on these fun retro react streams, right? That's the point. I don't understand where the confusion is coming in. I just don't. It seems to be clear as day, written in front of you. Here's how things are. Well, I'm going to ignore all that and still go over here and ask for something else. Right? Do you walk into an Italian restaurant that used to be a burger joint and demand a hamburger? Well, sorry, sir, we're an Italian restaurant now. Well, I want your old burger. I loved it. Well, we don't serve burgers anymore. Would you like our delicious lasagna dish? No, I want a burger. Sir, we don't serve burgers. What are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? There you go, the restaurant analogy, and it works. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't serve burgers anymore. I serve gourmet Italian dishes. So if you want gourmet Italian, stay here on DSP Gaming. If you're looking for burgers, go across the street to McDonald's. I don't know what else to say. There you go. Quote that. That should be the clip. That should be the clip that everyone puts on the internet. Don't take anything in reference. Take that clip completely out of reference and just put it on the internet. And people will be like, what the fuck? What's he talking about? What? That would be great. All right. Anyway, let's continue. So I can't find this troll. There was a troll. I'm just going to ignore his super chat. Clashed23 did a super chat. He says, did you see LTG? He got booed at a streaming awards by the crowd. He was announcing best FGC player of the year. I pay no attention to that stuff. Of course, people, try to bother me with it. I'm like, I don't care about any of that drama nonsense, so I'm not going to involve myself in it. And 672 did a super chat. He says, you absolutely cannot play Cyberpunk's DLC. I forbid you. All right. Well, I'm gonna finally say I agree with something 672 says for a rarity, and I really appreciate that feedback. And now I will completely skip the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty DLC. Thank you so much for that recommendation there, 672. And I will always say, when people say, well, why didn't you ever check out Phantom Liberty? I'm going to say, well, don't you remember that 672 said that I should skip it? So, I really cherish his opinions, so we're skipping it. There you go. That's how it works, right? Okay. All right. Continuing on. All right, it's like 12:25, so for now, we'll close the suggestions thread. We only got through like 2. Really, I think we did 2 suggestions. So please continue to submit suggestions in that thread. I will continue to get to them when we get time on the podcast. But we only got through like 1 or 2 today, so there you go. Okay. Oh, here's the old suggestions thread. Let me close that one. That one's super duper outdated now. Okay. Oh, I'm curious here what people are voting for. Let's see. Just for the record, I very quickly glanced on DSP Throwback here. The poll has only been live for 14 hours. It's going to be running all week long. But the early poll results for next week's Retro React stream are as follows. 8% for Red Dead Redemption 1, 20% for Dark Souls 1, 38% for Heavy Rain, and 33% for Bully. So it's very close. Only 260 people voted. With a 5% differential there, that means like 10 votes. So right now, I would say it could be Heavy Rain or Bully, but you could have a rallying for one of the others too because it's such a low vote count. Only 260 people. I mean, that could go either way. Typically, these polls get around 500 votes by the end. So if only half the people chimed in, it definitely could go another direction. So be sure to vote And if you have not yet, make your voice known over on DSP Throwback, okay? There you go. Lord Prince Albert is here. He just did a $5 super chat, and he says, "You're telling me I've been watching all this time just to not get served any gabagool?" Gabagool? I forget what gabagool is. It's real, right? It is a real dish. I forget what it is, though. No, I told you. I only serve gourmet Italian here. You can't be asking for, like, a large fries or, you know, a chicken tender. You're not going to get it. Here, you get the most amazing chicken Alfredo with delicious fresh chicken marsala. Oh, I haven't had chicken marsala in a long time. Chicken marsala is good. The mushroom sauce, it's a mushroom and wine sauce. That shit's good. I haven't had that in a long time, man. What's in gabagool? I don't remember what's in that. It's a real dish, though, isn't it? But I can't remember what's in it. All right, we got a little bit of extra time. If anyone wants to just mess around and tag me in the chat, we'll do a little bit of Q&A. Chicken Alfredo isn't really Italian. Well, they serve it at Italian restaurants. How about this? Eggplant rollatini. You ever had that? Dude, eggplant rollatini is super good. It's super duper good, right? Did I ever play Sonic Jump Fever? Considering I never heard of it, no. Have I watched The Sopranos? I've seen every episode of The Sopranos, yes. Do I like fried chicken or grilled chicken? Both. Today, I would prefer grilled chicken because I just don't like overly fried, greasy foods. But I still like the flavor of fried chicken. What do I have against peanut butter and banana sandwiches? Actually, nothing. I never tried it. It sounds interesting. Like, I might like it. I feel like that might be a combination I would enjoy, but I've never had it myself. Is it possible to get merch this year? No, I don't have any merch. Well, again, this is a topic every once in a while people bring up. I haven't found a merch company that doesn't respond to trolls, okay? Because when I get a merch company on my side, my trolls just bother them and say, hey, this guy's a jerk, here's why. And they send them a montage of, like, hateful clips about me over the past 15 years, showing things that are monstrously outdated and not representative of who I am today. Again, the risque commentary of old YouTube. And they say, oh, is this who you want in your business? And then they say, oh, we can't have you on our site because people are complaining. So unless we can find a website or a business that's not going to just bend over to trolls because they're stupid and weak and flimsy and wishy-washy cancel culture idiots, I can't have merch. You know, the only way I could have merch is to actually finance it myself up front, buy it myself, produce it, and then try to sell it. I don't have the money to do that. I did that once ages ago, and it didn't go well, and I was stuck with a million shirts that just caused problems with me and my friends, so I'm not doing that ever again. So, okay. My favorite game of 2023, check out my year-end series that I just did last month. I did my Game of the Year awards, as well as my most disappointing games countdown, and people also voted on their favorite playthrough of the year. That's available right here on this channel in a playlist from last month. You can check it out. Just check the playlist tab, look at the playlist from last month, and you can see the whole countdown. Why not play actual co-op games together on stream? Again, we talked about this. Right now, there's really no current co-op games that are interesting to us. She has zero interest in It Takes Two. Doesn't care about it. Okay? Other current games, Helldivers 2, she doesn't care about that either. So, until we find a game that we're interested in and we want to play together, there's no point. We're not going to force each other to play games that we don't like, because then it's not going to be fun. It's just going to be going through the motions to put out a piece of content, throw it on the internet that's not going to be genuinely happy and fun. Like, watch her reaction the first time we did Q&A, right? And the first time that we did Dondoko Island, excuse me, got it confused. And check out how happy she was, right? That's the kind of pure enjoyment we want to relay in the content that we do together. We don't want to be like, well, we're just forcing ourselves to do co-op to make money today, so we're playing a game we're not interested in, but let's just force our way through it and not enjoy it. It's not what we're here for. You understand? It's not. So we're not doing that. We're going to wait till it makes sense. What happened to the million shirts? See, I discussed this 2 years ago when I responded to a documentary about me. The shirts were the Project 7 shirts. First, we tried to sell them at conventions. They didn't sell at all. Then Project 7 actually released, and we sold a decent amount. And then completely, when the project got canceled, no one ever wanted them ever again. So they sat in storage for like 3 years. Eventually, John Rambo dumped them at my house and said, here, take them all back. So I did. And then when I moved across the country, I took them with me and paid to ship them across the country, which is really stupid. I should have just thrown them out. And then having them sit here for 2 years, eventually I said, well, maybe I'll give them out to my patrons. So I started mailing them to patrons, and then people started complaining, oh, why are you doing shirts that are from an old project involving your friends, and now you're selling them on Patreon, even though that's not what I was doing. Why are you selling them on Patreon? Well, even though fans want them, that's not right because your friends are on them and stuff. So I said, fuck this, and I threw them out. I literally threw them the fuck out. They've burned. I actually put them in a big bonfire, and I fucking lit them on fire, and I pissed on the fire as they burned away. And I laughed maniacally in the night. Ha 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 ha, just like that when I did. I said, ha 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 ha, I'll never have to deal with these shirts ever again. Honda Scooter, how exactly do you want us to believe that people are messaging you in the chat when there's no private messages on YouTube? There's literally no private messaging service on YouTube, so no one could be messaging you saying what you're doing, saying what you're saying. I'm sorry. So you're full of shit, and you should stop spamming the chat right now. It's pretty funny. People are on here, they think they're on Twitch or something. There's a game signed by you on eBay listed for $800,000. Cool. What game is it? I'm curious. What game is it? You're very confused, Honda Scooter. You should be. It sounds like you're living in some alternate dimension, but somehow you're still able to communicate with us in this dimension through the power of YouTube chat. That is pretty confusing. I must admit. It's just the box. You may not realize this, but just autographed boxes of things that I've signed are more valuable than actual games. Because that's the meme. Is that supposedly I used to just give away boxes, which isn't true, but that's the meme. So since that's the negative meme, just the box autographed is actually worth more inflated value. That's correct. I received a $6.66 tip from Ugly Tuna Roll. He says, that's blasphemy. Fettuccine chicken Alfredo is so Italian. They're so prominent in the Lazio region and Roma and made by Alfredo de Lelia. Well, there you go. Ugly Tuna Roll knows better than us. I don't know about that. I've had chicken Alfredo and seen it on Italian restaurant menu, so you would think that it's Italian. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. But there you go. Thank you very much for that, Ugly Tuna Roll. Appreciate that. Uh, 672 said, I mentioned this last night over on the Throwback stream, right? He said, sad to see physical copies and collector's edition games now dying out. Those trips to the local GameStop are long lost memories. Correct. I mean, who even needs to go to GameStop anymore, right? What's the point? Why would you ever go to a GameStop? I mean, it's a legit question. Is there a single reason why you would ever need to go there? It's a junk store now. You go in there, there's a bunch of pop culture or pop figures, t-shirts, mugs, toys, junk, you know? A bunch of crappy third-party controllers you wouldn't want to buy from there anyway because they're more expensive than what you would pay online. I mean, honestly, the only thing that I can think of is you really want to dive into their used game library. But even then, their used games are way more expensive than usually what you would pay for online anyway. So unless you absolutely need to buy something and go home that moment with it in your hands and use it, I don't see a reason why anyone would literally ever spend $1 at GameStop in the modern day. Back in the day, this was not the case. When everything was not instant digital, GameStop was the go-to place. They had all the games, they had all the accessories, all the consoles. You could buy them together and trade them in bundles and get extra trading credit. They would have the strategy guides. They would have everything. I mean, as a YouTuber, my early days, all the way 2008, all the way through when I moved out here, 2014, even 2015, GameStop was the go-to place. And then the last 9 years, I haven't had a single reason to go there. I went from going there every single week like clockwork to never going there ever again. Thank you, Pizza Box Gaming, for a super chat. He says, what's up? Phil in chat, I am loving the Yakuza playthrough. I'm glad. And we're doing it tonight. We're reaping the rewards of Dondoko Island Co-op. And I can't wait to play it again tonight. It should be a great stream. Cool. I think I remember that too. Pizza Box Gaming says, do you remember when GameStop tried to do trade-in devices like phones and shit? I think I do remember that. It was early on though. This was before the era of like, you know, iPhones and expensive phones. I remember them like having Nokia phones and shit and trying to like sell them. I was like, what the fuck am I going to GameStop to buy a Nokia phone for? Right? Honda Scooter, you didn't bother me. Just what you're saying is nonsensical. It didn't bother me, though. No, the meme, some people are asking about the empty game box meme. If you can believe it, this empty game box meme originated over a decade ago. All right, when my haters first started to become prominent with things like this is how you don't play, and they wanted to turn every positive that I did into a negative. Back in the day, when I had lots of money, this is before I ever moved out of Connecticut, I had a lot of money from the ad revenue I made on YouTube. I called it the Hardcore Gaming Season Giveaway. So every week for 3 to 4 months at the end of the year, during the busiest gaming season of the year, I would do a giveaway. And sometimes it would be an actual game. Sometimes it would be a piece of merch. It was just various things from the games that I would purchase and do over the course of the holiday season. So I remember one year, I want to say it was a Deus Ex game. Like, it was probably like Deus Ex Human Revolution, right? And I had bought the collector's edition of the game, and it had all this collector's edition content. It had like a book with art. It had like a soundtrack CD. It had like all the extra shit. But the game itself I was playing, and then eventually I traded the game in at GameStop because you get the bonus trading credit to get more games. So I didn't have the game anymore. But I still had all the collector's edition content. And what happened was, I would have, back then I actually had like my own website and my own forums. That's all a thing of the past now. But people would go to my website and post up in the forums, oh, I want this, I'm interested in it. And we would get hundreds, sometimes thousands of posts of people who were interested in getting these things. So people would post up, and then I would use a random number generator to pick a random post. I would pick a winner, and then I would contact that person behind the scenes and say, hey, congrats, you won. So you're going to get what I offered this week for the giveaway. Give me your mailing address and let me know if you want to autograph anything. If you want me to autograph anything, excuse me. So I remember one of the times was all the collector's edition content of like Deus Ex. And that was it. Just the collector's edition content. I didn't have the game anymore, but I had all the other content. So no exaggeration. Hundreds to thousands of people posted up to get it. Someone won. And they said, yeah, autograph it. Autograph the box and everything. So I did. I autographed the box. I packaged it up. I mailed it to them, which cost a lot of money to do that. I mailed it to them, and that was it. And the meme became, oh, you see, Darkside Phil gives out empty boxes to his fans. Those are his giveaways. Despite the fact that I gave away dozens of games, the fact that I gave away a PS4 at launch. I had an extra PS4 that I had bought, and I had nothing to do with it, and I gave it away to a fan at launch. But the meme is, Phil gives away empty boxes. And that's all anyone remembers, because that's all people, you know, remember, is that me giving away one empty box, even though I gave away likely thousands of dollars of things over the years. They don't want to hear that. Just like they don't want to hear that Darkside Phil was good at old Street Fighter and placed and won tournaments. That doesn't count. That's not true. It is true, but the meme is I'm bad at games, so you can't ever believe that I was actually a good Street Fighter player. This goes hand in hand with these toxic culture on the internet of erasing the positive past and only talking about this one small negative thing that you think is the truth when it's not. But because so many people mass repeat it, it becomes a cultish mentality, and they actually fabricate it into reality as what happened when it's not true. It's sad, but that's how it's been with me for the last 10 to 15 years. Erase anything good that ever happened and only focus on negative things, and that's supposed to be the legacy of me. Bullshit. I'm still here every day to tell you all that bullshit and call it out. So that's the truth about the empty box, you know? Yeah, you'd be surprised. Shipping stuff around the world, because I opened it up worldwide. I said, anyone around the world can enter my giveaways. And there were times when it would be like, for example, that Deus Ex Collector's Edition content. Just to put that in a mailer and ship it internationally would cost like $40. It's like the cost of the game. And the game's not even in there. I'm spending $40 to ship you Collector's Edition content with my autograph on it. It was expensive. You know, again, I had a lot of money back then. So I gave it a lot of stuff away. I was happy to do that when I could do that back in the day. Things have been different for the last decade, right? I just find it funny because when this all started, at the very beginning of me being a YouTuber, people actually accused me of being a cult leader. There was actually detractor channels, like one was called DSP Cult Leader. And the actual channel was like, oh, don't you see that Phil is trying to brainwash your children into watching his content? And he's trying to bring them down the path of debauchery. That if your kids watch DSP's content, they're going to become these crazy, like deviants because they're watching DSP. I swear this was real. Okay, now here we are today in the present day, and actually take a look at the amount of cultish haters there are out there. Literally, they're the ones who've been brainwashed. It's not me who brainwashed people to like my content. People have literally been brainwashed to hate me and my content. It's the complete polar opposite is what's actually come to fruition over the last 15 years. Pretty crazy to think. I would love someone to analyze that. Someone go out there and actually do a documentary about that. Analyze the hate against me in the last 15 years and how it went from me being the cult leader to literally a cult of people hating me. I would love to see that fleshed out in like a 2-hour documentary, analyzing these fucking people over the years who've done it and actually figuring out who they are, what they have to gain by doing it, and how fucking nuts they are. That would be way more fascinating than any of these fucking hour and a half, 2-hour documentaries that just literally goes over the same detractor nonsense about me. I would love to see the other side of it. I think that would be the most fascinating thing you could see on the internet. There you go. Okay. I think it's time to end the show. I do have to take a brief break to use the restroom today, but let's end it, and then we'll jump into Tekken. We'll make our custom Yoshimitsu together. Can't wait to see what we come up with there, because I don't know what they have there, customizables for that. And go from there. So, guys, thank you so much. Great show today. Lots of topics covered. Even cracked open the suggestion box a bit, right? Thank you so much for watching the Level 1 podcast. The only takeaway today, number one, we really need to figure out what I'm doing Tuesday night, and we don't know yet, so let's talk about that. And number two, Throwback. I hope you'll check out the content on DSP Throwback, and, maybe give me some suggestions, and be sure to vote on what it is that you actually want to see me do on next week's stream. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Peace out.